Got to fucking charge up the fucking laptop. What the fuck? Hello, welcome back to episode number 7 of Oregairu season 3. We are past the halfway point. We have like around, including this episode, 5 episodes to go. No, 6? Yeah, 7. Because as far as I know, this season has around 13 episodes in total. So after this one, we're going to go to the 8th, which will then mean that there will be like 5 episodes remaining, or 6 in this case. But that's in the future. We're going to focus on now, and in this week, we're going to find the reason why I was so hyped in the end of the last episode. So without further ado, let's start it, and let's go. Oh, yeah. Right off the bat, they show us 2 members of the 3 that I've been waiting for. So the first 2 guys are Hatano and Sagami from the UG Club, or in other words, the United Gamers Club. But officially, they're like the Researchers Gamers Club. And for those that haven't read the light novels, they were already a part of the story, like in the beginning stages. For example, in volume 3/season 1, right before Hachiman and Yukino gave Yuigahama the birthday present, which was the dog collar, so as to mend whatever discomfort or problems they had between them. Zaimokuza barged into the service club room and just wailed and flailed and just ran over to Hachiman for help because he somehow got himself into a beef with one of the members of the Gamers Club. And after he told him that his plan of becoming a game scenario writer was all talk, Zaimakuza became mad and just flamed him in a group chat of the arcade room that both of them occasionally play around. And he did this under the assumption that he would never see that game club member ever again. But unexpectedly, he found out before entering the service club that he was a classmate of his in Sobu High. And after catching wind of that fact, the game club member challenged Zaimokuza into like playing a game so as to settle their dispute. As for what that kind of game was a fighting game. And since Zaimokuza wasn't really good in fighting games, he looked to Hachiman for help. That whole story lasts for like an entire chapter, but to put it in a nutshell, Hachiman convinced the club to change the type of game used for the challenge into a card game. And that card game was called Daifugo. I'll make a quick description of that wherever it's possible, but that's the game they played. But if for those that can't be bothered in reading the screen, it's basically Uno, but much more complicated. I mean, even myself, when I was reading the light novel, I was like confused. But yeah, that's essentially what the game was. So then, Hachiman, Zaimokuza, Yuigahama, and Yuki Nashida played a 3-way kind of game in Daifugo, and within that game there were 5 rounds. And after the first round, the service club won. But it was like a weak win since the club members weren't like taking it seriously. It was just a wait and see kind of round. After losing the first round, they suddenly put up the stipulation of stripping one part of their clothing for each time you lost a game or round. And in the subsequent rounds, when the service club lost to the Gamers Club, Hachiman took it upon himself and sacrificed himself by stripping, essentially. He stripped himself so that the girls won't have to. Because in a 3-way game, the losing party would strip. But since that was essentially a 2v1 type of game, the losing party, should it have been the service club, would allow one of the 2 groups to take the punishment, which would save the other group from not doing it. So as a result, Hachiman just stripped himself. And then in the fifth and final round, the Service Club won, or in other words, the group of Yuki Noshida and Yurigahama won, which saved them from like stripping and stuff. The anime cut that part from the show. When I read it the first time, I was pretty bummed out because had the studio included that episode, or had they included that event, it would have been a riot, like a fucking comedic riot. It's a shame, but since we're nearing the end, they had to be included in the show. There was no way for the anime studio to cut them out, just like they did in season 1. Hatano and Sagami, welcome aboard the show, finally. And shut the fuck up, Zaimakuza, man. At least he does something, not like you who fucking whimpers behind him if someone comes back to you. If someone comes back to you, cabrón. So they skipped the beginning part of the first adapted chapter when Zaimakuza leads Hachiman and Yurigahama into the gamers club room. It's for time constraints, I understand. I mean, it'll take way too long for them to reach that point organically. You can't get everything that you want in an adaptation like this. Last week they gave us the English subtitles in the opening sequence, but this week they gave us the subtitles for the opening sequence but in Japanese. Why are you giving us one thing and then the other the next week? You gotta be consistent. I mean, I'd rather have the English subtitles. For real, I'd rather have the English subtitles. At least with that, I can understand what the song is talking about. I mean, through every opening sequence, there's like a message within that song that relays into the overall theme of the season. I mean, freaking Crunchyroll or Funimation, I don't know whoever's taking control of the translation of the show, or the subbing of the show, because this is annoying. It's annoying for like a casual viewer or an ardent reader like myself and watching. Oh, yep. Finally, they make it fucking obvious. If you haven't caught up to what I said about the names of the game club members, one of them is called Sagami. And the name Sagami should ring a bell on viewers that remember the events of season 1. Sagami is also the last name of the girl who made life a living hell for Yukino in the planning of the cultural festival. She did nothing but hide away at the top of the school because she felt she was worthless, which is justifiably so, which was described by Hachiman. Minami Sagami, Hachiman's classmate in second year, is also the big sister of Sagami from the Gamers Club. He's a first year, so she's 1 year older than him. Kind of like how Hachiman is 1 year older than Komachi. I also happened to see that the exact reason, no, the kind of persuasion that Hachiman took for the Gamers Club to accept at first was cut out. I mean, he used a hypothetical scenario where a young man fresh off of college would essentially do nothing with his life, and he just described all of the things that just made it terrible for the game club and Zaimakuza Fret. And so as a result, fearing that they didn't want to follow down that path of abject laziness, they resolved to help Hachiman with his fake proposal. The rumors goes to show you how Iroha knows about the first year class's feelings towards her. I mean, they don't like her. The game club members talked about those rumors as if they were true, but from what we have seen between her and Hachiman, that's just not true. And she actually describes that sort of hate that she's been dealt with last episode, actually. Hey man, Hachiman knows, man. They skip the beginning part of the brainstorming session in which Yuiga Hama just like raised her arm up like a little girl. Sort of like in the planning of the sports festival at the end of season 1. Yes, it's basically the same as that compared to this.
できるのかできない。問題はそこじゃない。
The sea.
やりかねないと思わせる。
Don't you remember the opening just a few minutes ago? And the ending too. Don't forget about the ending. The sea. Kaihin Sogo, let's fucking go! Did they... Was Komachi... Oh, I can't remember. Was Komachi's birthday talked about? Was that scene about Komachi's birthday talked about in that chapter? Probably not, because after the meeting with the Gamers Club, Hachiman and Yuigahama then went to wait on, or probably tried to contact Hayama and see if he would be willing to join their fake prom proposal committee or plan or whatever. I fucking hate myself for not even taking notice of that. Fuck! I'll figure it out later. I love it! I love it! I love it, that part, the fucking jargon, the business word jargon. I fucking love it! Of course, man, you gotta come prepared for a man like Tamanawa. Kaihin Sogo equals Tamanawa in this fucking series, while flapping his arms around, hands around fucking...
ああ、アドレス変えてたもんね。LINE 教えとこうか。
俺 LINE やってないから。
ウケる。何それ、女子の言い訳じゃん。
いや、ウケねえから。ゆうか女子の断り方やばいでしょ。
The increased breathing on his forehead from Tamanawa. He does not like any of this shit. He wants to keep Orimoto to himself. I know deep down inside he didn't want to be there, but since it's for another collaboration project and another opportunity for his name to be out there in public as a reliable person, then gotta fight fire with fire. Let's fucking go! He's learning! I swear, man. It's another fucking disappointing thing that they cut out the exact, like, Hachiman's explanation of Tamanawa's growth since almost screwing up the planning for the what is it? Christmas party? Being in front of the camera makes my head go to blank. But Hachiman compares the Tamanawa from back then to the Tamanawa in this moment, and he knows that Tamanawa stepped his game up. He has been more responsible about how to conduct himself in meetings, and he's not using those unreliable English words just to look cool. He's actually being a proper student council president, and that's good for him, but not good for Hachiman for his plans. Oh no.
心配してるのはバジェット。でも予算がないのには慣れっこ。なら使うべきだろうガジェット。
それある。
君のお題目はまるでカリスメ。企画の中身もほとんど入れて一緒に始めるに際して具体性がない。
It's as tight as leather. You gotta record this shit, Yuigama. Let's go. Effectively. Collectively. Let's go, splash. Lincoln.
俺たち自身の手ですがつのみんなでも先立つものなきゃ無策のまんま
ママ
さんに関してクラウドファンディング視野に入れればもらうのファンディング興味があるのは事実だでも気になるのはこの言い草
Sarcasm
で大事なのはほん
to
の
matter Other stuff is like a apologize on the platter On the same page About that Bang! Let's go! Got your ass, Hachiman! Fuck you, man! It's like there's a fucking story about Tamanawa, man. I need a fucking break. Oh, so good. Oh, that was so good. Thank the Lord for season 3. Now I can die happy. I love this shit so much. Now we can just cut this shit out. I mean, we could just end season 3 right there.
少しあるわけだけど、よかったら。
帰ろっか。
そうだね。
Tamanawa, oh god, you did all you can, but Orimoto's not. Either she didn't pick up the hint, or she's just not interested in Tamanawa. For shame, Orimoto. You lost yourself on going out with the fucking rap battle master.
頑張れ、玉川さん。
Gambare Tamanawa. Don't refuse the Yahalo. Never refuse the Yahalo. Yahalo is love. Yahalo is life. Be one with the Yahalo. Fucking this dude is so fucking. He is like trash. Oh, you know, I forgot about the exact ending of that chapter back in season 1. So in the end, after his mind was cleared up and he was more confident about his end goal, which was being a game writer, he just fucking went back to being like a prospective light novel writer. And so essentially that whole fucking chapter was a fucking waste of time, because after that chapter was Yui's birthday celebration. So like literally Zaimakuza just jumped into the story and just pieced out, having wasted my time, Hachiman's time, and the rest of the service club's time. This fucking dude. And then he gives him then he has the gall to give him his fucking idea of his light novel. Doesn't he know the situation that he's in? The light novel is a million times not the priority here. The priority is the prom proposal. Zaimakuza, you're a difficult person.
おお、名前な。さよう、この最高というのがな。大体。
I'm an idiot. We're now like in the next chapter. I think it's chapter 6 of volume 13. The Hayama scene.
こんなもんか。
She has the max coffee. She has the max coffee.
あら、引き早く。
She knows the way of the max coffee just like Hachiman does. They're fucking perfect.
そちらは？
まあ順調だな。
The slight movements are telling. Yukinoshida slightly puckering up her legs right when she's asking him how he's doing with his prom proposal. She's kind of nervous about asking him how it is, because they're competitors. In her mind, she shouldn't be like talking to him as like a friend, since he is opposing her. But besides that, they're basically friends. But even so, her asking him about his situation does not follow her character. She doesn't normally wonder about how another person's doing. She mostly focuses on herself. Since she asked Hachiman how he was doing, she thought in her mind that she was being self-indulgent, that she was prying in way too much. They don't want to be that person that takes a step forward, but it has to be tackled in a way, which is what Hachiman and Yukinoshida are doing with them asking each other how their plans are doing. Giving him the max coffee.
これからまだ仕事があるんでしょ。
Now they both have the max coffee. It's so perfect. Oh, my little shipping heart is going wild. I'm so giddy.
ちょっと悪い。
Oh no. Oh, that face. Oh no. That fucking face. Oh no. She is disappointed. She's heartbroken. She's silently screaming to herself that they're together once again on the bench. It is so painful. The pain never stops. The pain never stops. Seeing another person's heart fall apart at the sight of the couple that should be together, it's terrible. It's terrible.
待って。なんか久しぶりな気がする。変だね。何日か会ってないだけなのに。そうね。
Yeah, Yukinoshida didn't even say a lot to Yurida Hama before she tried to leave her. The tension is still there between them. The whole deal in the end of season 2 is still fresh in their minds. I mean, after all, not even like a few weeks have passed within the story. we're just off of the start of spring, and at the last episode, it was around near the end of winter. So it's very close. That's why it's still fresh in their minds. And Yuki Noshida's avoiding her, Yuiga Hama, because, like I said, the animosity is still there. Their whole wish within the service club, how they personally feel for their wishes, what they want to do inside, and what they want to do out of it. It's a very deep conflict that concerns within each person of the club. But one of the major tipping points in the relationship between Yuki Noshida and Yuiga Hama is the guy standing behind them, watching it all fall down. Their love for Hachiman. It's very clear that Yuki Noshida likes him just as much as Yuiga Hama liking him as well. But they know very well, along with Hachiman, that if they take the extra step and confess to him, then their whole triangular relationship, or the triangular friendship, would break down. I talked about this in length last episode in comparison to what happened with Tobe and Hina in season 2. It's very similar to that. That group would have crumbled down just like this one would, if any person went ahead and confessed to another. That's why they have that tight air in between them.
私のこと避けてた。そうじゃないわ。
She's avoiding her.
ただプロムの私ね、ヒッキー手伝ってるの。
言ってなかったか。
The fact that Hachiman didn't tell Yukino that Yuiga Hama was helping her ate at him so much inside of his mind. He cursed himself actually for not telling her beforehand. He wanted to do it, but not like this. Not like this.
私ちゃんとしようと思ってる。これが終わったらちゃんとするの。だからユキノのお願いは叶わないから。私はあなたのお願いが叶えばいいと思ってる。私のお願い知ってる？ちゃんと分かってる？ええ。多分あなたと同じ。
The wish. What is that wish? Her wish, as has been hinted during this season, is to just let it all fade away. Let their relationship just end with Yuiga Hama and Hachiman. In the last episode, in the very end, during Iroha's interlude, she talked about, she like muttered to herself how at the end of the prom everything would just end. That's how she sees it. Once she completes that proposal, which is also a mission for self-growth, she can just let her friends go. And in that way, she can fly off and be independent. That's her wish. That's Yuki Noshida's wish. Yuiga Hama's wish is to have Hachiman for herself. In disintegrating the relationship with Yuki Noshida and Hachiman, Yuiga Hama wants to have him for herself. She wants to be his girlfriend. For Hachiman, he doesn't like Yuiga Hama as much as Yuki Noshida. That's laid out plain and bare in the light novel and also in the anime. If you take a really careful look at how he behaves around her, how he thinks of her as in Yuki Noshida, he thinks more highly and is more appreciative of Yuki Noshida than Yuiga Hama. Yuiga Hama is just that one girl whose dog was saved by him coincidentally, and Yuki Noshida is the person who he started to know by force. He talked to her very savagely. They were basically acting as cats and dogs, always hitting each other at first, but as time went along, as the story progressed, they melted down to each other. They now see that within the other person is a mirror of themselves. They would feel much more fun and happy once they're with the other person. Yuiga Hama doesn't have that luxury. She's just trying to invade on their space. It's just not possible. I mean, that's why Yuki Noshida said that her wish is the same as hers. Not literally, but figuratively. whatever they do will eventually lead to the end of the service club. And even now, they're not even saying it up front about what their wish is. They're just implying that the other person knows what their wish is. They're not being more upfront with each other. They're not explicitly saying their own wishes. They're just still hiding behind their words, and that's not good. Even now, after all they've been through, they're still having superficial conversations because they're scared. They're scared of showing their true selves, of showing their actual desires. They see their desires as wicked and very disgusting, which is true in a sense. I mean, they're thinking more of themselves than the entire group. It makes sense. But it would have been much better if they talked about it more openly than instead being scared of how the other person would think. It's the kind of drama that most teenagers in the real world go through. They're too scared of saying whatever is on their minds to another person's. It's like confessions. You want to confess to that person, but you're too scared of how they would answer. So you just keep it inside and just hope that whatever you do, that person would take notice of you and then would go out and confess themselves to you instead of you to them. This is not how it's going to work.
プロム終わったらお昼一緒に食べるから。あとユキの家にまた泊まりに行く。
See what happens? I mean, Yurihama doesn't want her friendship with Yuki Noshida to end. That much is telling. This is what happens when you say you actually say what you feel. That way their friend or another person would understand, like what's happening right here. Yes, I understand. She actually understands because she knows what Yurihama is trying to imply.
祈るような気持ちで俺は二人を見つめていた。
That last part where he looked at them as if like in a prayer, it's another way of saying that he wants the group to stay together. Like Yurihama said just literally moments ago. He still hopes that the service club would be alive. He enjoys that space where they can just talk about whatever they want or dealing with another person's problems. It's just how it is. That's what he likes. Over time, he became more accepting of his role in the service club and his friendships with Yurihama and Yuki Noshida. I mean, the old Hachiman would have just fucking died out of so much sophistry or so much debauchery coming out of the new ones or the current Hachiman's mouth. But staying stagnant like that in the beginning would just bring no resolution to his personal character. He would always be alone, and that's not a good thing, as this story proves. He wouldn't say it out in front of them especially, but that's how he feels. He wants that supposed Garden of Eden to stay alive.
企画で宣伝チームから他にもやらないとね自ら先の予定が見え
Let's
た
go!
変わったような玉縄懐かしくなるあのカタカナ使わないのは僕の戒めそんな君は変わっていないね腐ったままだ右目左目やっぱこいつ強いわもうダメだ強い
Fucking rap battle in the preview for the next episode. I fucking love it. I know that wasn't a one-time thing. They just had to do it again. I love it. I love it so much. Next episode, we're going to the beach. We have a conversation with Hayama and another conversation with Haruno. We're getting into the good stuff. We're getting into the very good stuff of the light novel. That term that was given out by Haruno in describing Yuki Noshida, in describing her little sister, Yurihama and Hachiman's relationship comes back into light. What exactly happens in dealing with that term, I'm not going to say. We'll save that until next week. That is it. That is all for episode number 7 of Oregairu Season 3. It was quite enjoyable. It's probably my highlight of this season so far. I fucking loved it. The rap battle made it so much better. I just had a treat watching that. That rap battle was my favorite scene of the entire novel. It was just so fucking enjoyable that I couldn't wait to see it get animated and for it to happen right now, and for me to have actually seen it. It's just so fulfilling. I feel happy. I feel like I'm in bliss. But that's it. That is it. I'll see you in episode 8 next week. And until then, this has been Pedro Romero /Timboli3. I'll see you guys in the next one.